welcome to your April 13th edition of
Tools at Tea Time
with Tim and Anna.
on Tuesdays.
And as always, we are happy to see you.
Yes.
So, well, Anna, you know, all of this spring rain and sunshine's really making things green up, at least in our yard. How about you?
It's true. Our yard is pretty green as well, and it looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it's just perfect what we all need this time of year with state testing and COVID trying to sort out all the complexities. So we thought we'd start out today with a quick social emotional check-in because it's good to think about the seasons of our lives and how those are going too. So we got 4 favorite quotes about spring that I just showed. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the poll. Okay, why don't you go ahead and vote on which of the following quotes about spring speaks most to you right now, and be thinking about why. And then Anna, I don't know if you can see how many people have voted.
I cannot.
It takes them a minute to read all these quotes.
Oh, there we go. Now I see some people are voting.
Oh, good. Okay, let me know when it looks like we have about the right number because it isn't changing on my screen.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you there for a second. Can we enable transcripts?
Yeah, it's enabled on my screen. I can see the transcript down below. Can you see it, Jessica? Fries-Gaither? Yes, okay. I don't know, Ugo, what's going on. If you have to click the dots at the top of your screen or on the side to get it to activate, it just automatically activated for me.
I will mess around with it, but if anybody else has any questions on how to do that, just type it in the chat and we'll walk you through it.
Thanks. Okay. Appreciate it, Ugo. Okay, so I'll go ahead and end the poll. Let you see how people voted. Share the results.
All right, so 2 people voted for Deep in the Roots, All Flowers Keep the Light. And 1 person voted for To Be Interested in the Changing Seasons is a happier state of mind than to be hopelessly in love with spring. And the one that got the most votes, 50% of us voted for spring, a lovely reminder of how beautiful change can truly be. Yay!
Anybody want to share with us why they voted that way? Nicole, would you mind? Why did you choose the one you did?
I don't mind at all. I chose spring, a lovely reminder of how beautiful change can truly be. Because I mean, when the flowers are blooming, especially on one of like my tree in my front yard, it is a perfect reminder of why things change and why it's a good thing most of the time too. So it painted the picture that you guys have on the screen as well, I think, beautifully.
Thanks for sharing that. We appreciate it. And we hope everybody is taking a second to check in with themselves. It's so important. So Anna.
All right, so let me get this out of my screen. Okay, all right, so let's move on down the tea time road and see what this week's theme is going to be.
Okay, well, as usual, our theme is set by an email from our imaginary fan base.
You've got mail.
And this week's email says, Dear Tim and Anna, back it up.
You've got mail.
Dear Tim and Anna, 2 challenges that I faced during COVID have been not being able to see my students' work in real time and how to give timely targeted feedback. Do you have any ideas about how I might be able to do this in a hybrid environment or even beyond? Signed, a supporter of student-owned learning.
Very nice. So this brings us to our theme for the week, which is real-time feedback in hybrid situations.
All right, and let's go ahead and introduce you to this week's special guest and the tool of the week. So our special guest today, Jessica Fries-Gaither, is an experienced classroom educator and a coach and an award-winning author of books for both students and teachers. Oh, Caitlin's clapping. I think she knows your books. And her books for students include Notable Notebooks and Exemplar Evidence. In fact, Notable Notebooks was chosen as an official selection for Storytime from Space and was read to children all over the world from the International Space Station. And she has a series of books for teachers as well, Inquiring Scientists, Inquiring Readers. And there's an elementary version and a middle school version, which we've used in our courses at the museum, is immensely helpful when thinking about incorporating literacy and science together. And Jessica is herself an active classroom teacher, so she's not talking from theory. She is currently a classroom teacher and science specialist at the Columbus School for Girls in Columbus, Ohio. She also has taught in Tennessee and in Alaska. Additionally, Jessica spent 5 years in the College of Education and Human Ecology at Ohio State University, where she directed National Science Foundation funded projects and provided professional development for elementary and middle school teachers. And today, Jessica will be talking to us about a tool called ClassKick. So let's go ahead and use that reaction button to give Jessica a big tea time welcome. Welcome, Jessica. We appreciate you coming from 2 hours ahead to spend time with us. You and Tabby there. Oh, look at, I see a bunch of hands lighting up, Jessica. I'll quit sharing screen and let you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tim. And welcome, I guess, from the future to most of you who are here. I am thrilled to be here. I think this is such a great program that the museum's offered. I wish I had known about it earlier, Tim. You would have had another person from Ohio join this COVID year. So I want to talk about ClassKick a little bit, and I want to start by saying that I am not an expert. I have been figuring out and struggling through all of the things that you have this year with remote learning and hybrid learning and pivoting back and pivoting again. And if you're like me, you're sick of that word where your administrators are asking you to pivot one more time. So I'm hopeful that this tool can help you as it's helped both me and my colleagues at my school. So first, I just want to make sure everyone knows that if you hear any background barking, it is because of these 4 goofballs that live in my house. I have my door barricaded, but it doesn't necessarily mean they won't come pushing their way in. So hopefully they will be quiet. It's just about dinner time, which means they might be distracted for a few minutes.
It's okay, Jessica. We as teachers are familiar with things going to the dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I am a science teacher. I've been a science teacher for most of my career. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about are science notebooks. I actually have a book coming out about that in the fall. But with everything that's happened in the last year with COVID and all those different learning situations, there's some downsides to those notebooks. A few of them, it's hard to monitor an entire class at once, even in a regular classroom, let alone when you have some kids in person and some kids at home. It's tough to give feedback to them in the moment, even in regular time, when they're all writing furiously on those composition books. It's a pain to drag them home, let's be honest. I have days where I'm bringing home an entire grade's worth of notebooks and dragging the carts out to the car and they fall out and all of that. And all of that has been multiplied this year with remote learning. And so I've been really thankful to discover this tool at a recommendation from a 3rd grade colleague at my school called ClassKick. There's a free version and then there's a pro version. We all started out at my school with the free version and we quickly realized that we wanted to use it a lot more than we were going to be able to. And so we were fortunate that our school bought a pro account for the school. It's also possible to buy a pro account just for your own classroom, and it's not an outrageous amount of money either. So I'm going to be showing you things that we created with the pro account, although I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. So ClassKick, basically there's 4 steps. So first you create an assignment, and that could be something you create from scratch. That could be taken from a digital worksheet that you've had and you've used for years. You can import it into ClassKick, or you can use your screenshot tool or Snippet and plop it into a new assignment. And you can add places for students to do their work, show their work, type in sentences or whatever grade level you're teaching. And then you share that with students and they're working on their own devices on this assignment. And so that's like, we can do that in Google Slides. What's the big deal? The difference with this one is that you can see everyone working at the same time through the ClassKick platform. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. And so you are able to give feedback on the fly by jumping in on a kid's screen and typing a little note like, oh, it looks like you're forgetting to simplify that fraction. Stop and, think about that. And imagine being able to do that for 30 students while you're sitting at your desk. It's pretty remarkable. Students can also help each other, and they can ask for help anonymously from the teacher or from a peer, which is really nice as well. So when you create an assignment, this is kind of what it looks like. I'll take you into my ClassKick accounts towards the end, but for right now, I just want to stick with a few screenshots. So it looks like kind of Google Slides or a PowerPoint deck of slides on the surface, and you can create as many slides as you need. You can add point values to each one. They can be private. You can share them with the ClassKick community. And then once you have created your assignment, then you can assign them to different classes. You can add a roster, or ClassKick gives you a class code. So I have been using that a URL and putting it into Canvas, which is our learning management system. And so students can get to it just directly from that link, which is nice. And then once it's time for them to work on it, this is a view of what you would see. So you would see every student that has logged in and is working on this assignment. You can see which slide they're currently on. You can tell if they're online or if they've logged off. You can see who is helping, like Daniel, another student is helping Daniel with a question. You can see that Francis has raised his or her hand on the third slide, so they need help. So you can jump right to that and see what they're asking. And you can see where students have done things that have already been graded. You can see teacher feedback. And so you get this whole class view, but then you can also click in on a specific kid and look more closely at their work.
Jessica, if a kid raises their hand, can you talk to them or do you type to them?
That's a great question. So you can type to them, or this would be awkward in a classroom. When I've used it with kids that are remote, I can do a quick voice recording if I'm in my house, and then they can listen to me talk to them. But if I'm sitting in the room, if we're all working in the same classroom, that would be kind of strange. So I think typing would be better.
Yeah. Thanks.
And then there's also something called a help center, where students can type in questions to you and you can type answers back, kind of like a chat feature. And you also have the ability to create stickers like this little purple owl, and you can add a message like check your spelling. So if there's common things that you're telling your students, you're going to be telling lots of students to do, you can create those stickers ahead of time. And then you can just go in and click on a slide and give them that feedback right away, which is a great time saver when you're trying to help multiple students at once. So I actually am going to exit my slides, and I'm going to take you into my ClassKick account to show you a few examples of work.
I like that sticker thing. It's different than Pear Deck or Nearpod or any of those. I don't think any of them have that, so that's cool.
I haven't used it as much as I should, but the ones that I've taken the time to do, it's so easy when you're going through to just be like, yes, this is good. Let me take you into a second grade assignment. We call them forms in my school. So at the beginning of the year, we watch videos of animals in science. We watch videos of them eating and drinking water and interacting with each other. And I want students to be able to make claims about what those animals need to survive. Usually we do that as a whole class activity. We have we write on paper. And this year I was teaching from home. I had some kids in the classroom. I had some kids at home. I needed a different way to do it. And so ClassKick really became valuable. So what I did in this assignment, I created slides with some directions. And then I linked to the video that I wanted students to watch. And they could click on it. Of course, this one isn't coming up now. There really was a video there. We did this back in September, forgive me. And then this piece below was originally a worksheet that another teacher had created. I imported that worksheet and added text boxes where the students could just type their answers into those blanks.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for, you know, you can see we have 5 slides here. So the first 4, I used a blue background because everyone had to do those. And then I had an extra one for early finishers and made it a different color as a visual cue for them. And they were adding lots of different claims and evidence on that. So that's what the assignment looked like. And let's see what my students' work looked like here. So you can see, let's look at Avni's here. So you can see she watched that, and then she used both a pen tool to write her name, and then she typed in some answers. I claimed that it needs salmon to survive, my evidence because it was getting salmon to eat. Gotta love the invented spelling. And just, you know, so I can continue now to read these. I could give her voice feedback if I wanted to record a quick message with the microphone tool. I could type in feedback for her with a text box. I could write it in with a pen tool, or here are the stickers that I was talking about. So something that we work on a lot in my science class is making strong evidence and not just saying, I saw it in the video, telling exactly what they saw or what they found. And so I've created a sticker that says, how can you make your evidence stronger? And so all I have to do, I've got that saved into my account now. I just have to click on it instead of writing it 30 times on everybody's slide.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can go back in and look at this. And I would have kids, like I'd be at home typing and I have a kid in the classroom be like, can you move my typing? I need to write underneath where you are. So like they're really seeing it in real time while I'm helping them, which was wonderful when I couldn't be right there. Let me show you.
I really like the fields, the text fields you can insert too, because I don't think Pear Deck or Nearpod or those other live things allows you to do that. You can write on top of a worksheet, but you can't write on the lines in the worksheet.
Yeah. Let me show you one more I did with my 4th graders, and then I want to show a couple of cross-curricular examples really quickly. So in 4th grade, we grow fast plants, we pollinate them, we learn how seeds are formed. And so I wanted students to create a model of how that process happens. Again, normally paper, but this year with everything, I decided to make it part of ClassKick. So in my assignment, I had a bunch of slides in their ClassKick assignment. So an introductory page, and I recorded myself reading the directions for kids that needed support. This particular class has some that need those audio directions. I gave them some little clues, which tools they might be using. And then on the next slide, we had a checklist of words that they should be using in their work. And they could go back with their pen tool and check those off as they had gone. And then I again, with this particular class, I knew they needed some support to look at what models looked like before they drew their own. So I added a couple of help slides that they could refer back to the entire time they were working on ClassKick. They just had to go back to these slides. And then I left some blank slides for them to create their model on. I'm going to jump back to my slides because I have a nice screenshot of what it ended up looking like.
Wow.
So this is one 4th grader's model.
Pretty good drawing for a computer.
I know, I was impressed.
What device are they working on?
Chromebooks.
Okay.
But a lot of them, they love to like flip it into tablet mode and draw. And then here's another example. This student, she drew her diagram, but then she recorded herself talking instead of writing it all out, which was a nice way for me to give support for her. Here's a couple examples from colleagues. 5th grade math teacher. working on equivalent fractions, she gave them this challenge. What fraction of the block design is blue and how do you know? She gave them a link to some virtual pattern blocks that they could use to find the answer. This screenshot from the bottom is a student's work. So the student opened up the pattern blocks and then she wrote on the screen, you know, to figure out what the fraction was, and then sent that screenshot back to her teacher.
Thanks for collecting these examples from other teachers.
People were happy to share. Our language arts teacher has set up a whole week of guided writing using a quote from Walk Two Moons. And so students are working through one slide every day. Our middle school Spanish teachers are loving this because they can have students record themselves speaking very easily and then hear that. They also have them, you know, labeling parts of the classroom. And then I'm gonna quickly exit out of my slides again. This one is better to show in the ClassKick app. This is our choir teacher. I was super excited when she sent me this. She said, this is a game changer. I'm never going back from using this. She's got to have students sight read and sing for her. And in the past, she had all these iPods and they would go to a separate room and they would record, and then she'd have to get the iPod and she'd have to listen to it, and then she'd have to delete it, and so many steps, and it was a huge pain. So she created her assignment. I love the color coding. She's got audio of herself singing to help establish the key, so students have that. She's snipped in the sight reading passage she wants them to use. And then she's got a space for students to do their own recording. They're just going to put their recording on top of that to turn it in for her. And then she's even got their rubric. And so as she scores them, she's going to go through and use the highlighter tool to highlight the scores they've got. So everything is in the same place. There is no paper. There is no running back and forth with iPods and all of that nonsense.
Yeah, and there's so much research about that kind of immediate feedback having the most impact.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the time and I need to wrap up. So I'm going to hand it back over to Tim and Anna. And I am going to stick around for a few questions. I do want to add that I put a video into the participant folder. That's an 8-minute video that a faculty member at my school created for the other faculty. And it really walks you through how to use ClassKick.
Well, Jessica, thanks. That was like a very it didn't feel rushed, but it was a very quick tour. Thank you, of great examples. So I think we will move to our community check-in, and Anna will give you the prompt for that while I get everybody sorted into breakout rooms.
Yes.
And then Jessica will be around afterwards for Q&A for a few minutes if anybody wants to stick around for that.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Jessica. And when you go into breakout rooms, the discussion, you can choose to do this. How might you use ClassKick in your own classroom? If not ClassKick, then what tool are you using to monitor student work and give timely, targeted feedback in real time?
All right, so there's our prompt. We'll copy and paste that into the chat after we get you out into breakout groups so you can look at it again. We're going to go ahead and send you out to breakout groups. Just hit accept when you see the invite. And could group number 2, if you're invited to group number 2, please don't accept. Can you stay here? Group number 2, please don't accept. We'll have you on the recording if you can stay here in the main room. Thanks. Okay, so it looks like Nicole and Lisa are here. If you guys want to talk to each other, the prompt was, how could you maybe use ClassKick? And if not ClassKick, what tool are you using to monitor students' real work in a timely, targeted kind of way?
So my school district, we are using Schoology. And in Schoology, you are able to kind of attach your Google Drives, as well as we have Office 365 as well. And so a lot of us have been doing the Google Drive, the slides and such, which is really nice. So when you create something, when you put it into assignment in Schoology, it does make a copy of it for every student. And then you get a folder created for that assignment that all their copies get put into. So that's been working really well for me. In that way. I think one of the biggest things like that we've been trying to make, because we do have Chromebooks as well, is like when you have a PDF or document that you want kids to interact with. I'm trying to think of the the extension that we are using. I'm not using it so much, but we have several teachers in the classroom who are using it. So let me think about that. But because that's another big concern is that we don't have the touch screens. And so I think we find that very difficult when they are asking for input on there. I mean, that's what's nice with the Google Slides is that you can create those boxes, but that extension works really well for that. But Nicole, I'll let you talk. Sorry.
No, that's great, Lisa. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Well, I teach kindergarten, so we use Seesaw, and it's very similar to this, except the real life time piece. And I love that about ClassKick, because when we were remote, it was really hard to we could send assignments back, but we could only type in our feedback. We couldn't voice it to the students. And so unless their parents were there, they had no idea why they got their assignment sent back to them. So it'd be nice to be watching it as they're working on it, help them as they go, and be able to have that voice recording. So it'd be really interesting to try it for sure. I'm very excited to see if I can work it into something in the classroom to observe it in person, but then have them be on their tablets working through it. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I mean, everybody has styles. And so if, we can do anything we want inside of Schoology, but I will be sharing it with my teammates, the school, just in case somebody is interested in this. So I do like the features in it as well. And we do use Seesaw for primary, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Yeah.
Well, as a lot less features, but also a way to give timely feedback. Padlet, you can't do as many features as ClassKick, or definitely not Seesaw, but Padlet, kids can use video and they can put pictures on there, and you can comment on what they're doing right then and there. So that's, an option maybe if you wanted to try that as well.
Yeah, Lynn, I dropped the prompt into the chat if you want to join in the conversation. Don't you wish that we knew all these options before we started? Because once you really get invested in a tool, it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to convert everything. But yeah, I really think tools like this, where it's all in one package and kids don't have to open multiple windows and multiple screens, like to find this assignment or that assignment, are great. Yeah. So hi, Lynn.
Well, hi, I had to change devices. So I had to drop off right when the prompt was coming and to get onto my laptop. But you're right. I just think what life would have been like had we had some of these tools. Well, I feel like if I had some of these tools, and I love science notebooks, and this would just be an amazing way. I had to laugh when she said carting those notebooks home, because I did. They got a free ride home almost every weekend. And so what a wonderful way to have, and more interactive with the kids, and making use of what they're able to, the skills that they already have in place because of their usage of technology now. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that this digital element it really does help with that, not having to cart everything home.
Yeah.
Because that's always been my biggest concern with science notebooks. If you teach 125 kids and you have to take all their notebooks home, not to mention that while you're going through them, they can't keep adding to the notebook, right? Because you have it in your dining room.
Yeah.
So.
And the times that you filled up your car and you took them home and then you never looked at them. I've done that a few times. And then you have to cart them back. And you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And then you do it again.
Yes.
Yep. I did that a few times.
Yep.
That is so true.
After you've done a certain assignment a lot too, there's that notion that you know exactly what most of the kids are not going to do, or I love that sticker feature. Then instead of writing that 50 times, like, be sure to check your spelling, you can just drop a sticker on there. That's really nice. Yeah.
Did like that.
I called the groups back and it looks like they're all coming back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello.
Yeah. We failed to mention, everybody, that that Jessica has a new book coming out in the fall, probably in the fall. She's just coming back now to us. Hi, Jessica. We're telling them about your new book that's coming out probably in the fall. I had the honor of previewing that book, and it's amazing. So I hope if you really like the idea of getting students to notebook, that you to check that book out as well. So we're going to go ahead and close this out with Q&A afterwards. But I'm Anna, would you like to talk about our very special guest next week?
Well, that's right. So join us next week when our special guest will be me. I am really excited about talking about the six keys for high motivation and achievement. I hope that is something that will help you guys get closer to your kids. And that's coming next week. And if you had fun, please tell your friends to join us. And be sure to let us know what topics you would like to see in the future.
And Flora gave you a big thumbs up. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, we don't hear enough from Anna. I'm glad that she's going to be there. Also, just to remind you, we have summer courses. There's 3 of them this year at the museum for teachers. If you're looking to like pamper yourself and have a little fun learning with other teachers while getting some relicensure credit, check those out. One of them that we're going to be offering this year is Explore Before Explain Part 2. Did anybody take one of our courses with Pat Brown before? Give me a thumbs up if you did. I see Tracy shaking her head. Yeah, Pat is great. He's going to be coming out from the Midwest, and he has this great model that's, he's a teacher. He's also an author, and it really is based in practical strategies that get students to do that constructivist type of thinking in a way that really works for you and works for them. Encourage you to check that out. That'll be June 24th and the 25th. The others, and also we're going to have a preview of that course coming up later on in early May. So that'll be one of our special tea times. It'll be 45 minutes if you want to get a taste of it before you sign up. Also, all the programs for students at the museum from now until the end of the year are free. I mean, well, they're 50% off, and that includes in-person, remote, workshops, and all the types of things we have for kids, including the kits. So check that out. And if your school is 50% or more free and reduced lunch, then you can get those programs for 100% free.
And Tim, Flora had a question. Will those trainings be in person?
Yeah, the Pat Brown training will be in person. We have one that will be virtual, which people like Tabby can come, I hope. That'll be going on called Argumentation, the Language of Inquiry. And then we're also going to have field seminars out in the outdoors in the national park. So some in person, some online, and some in the outdoors. Hope to see you.
Well, and thanks for spending another half hour with us. Jessica, thank you for a great, wonderful episode. And thanks to all of you for spending that half hour with us. We know your time is precious as well. Jessica's episode resources are in this folder, and the recording of this episode will be archived in our website at dmns.org.
And so thanks again. And until next week, live long and prosper. Oh, I see several people can do that. Oh, Tracy, Lisa. All right, very cool. Okay, Jessica, thanks again. We're going to have a little post-episode Q&A if anybody wants to stick around. And if not, it's always good to see your smiling faces. Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Lisa.
everyone.
Hi,
Bye,
thank
bye,
you.
Nicole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. So those of you who stuck around, if you have any questions for Jessica, please feel free to jump in.
I'm not a very good singer, but now I want to sing that James Taylor song, right? Whenever I see your smiling face, I have to smile myself. Because I'm really excited about this national park thing. So I obviously can't be there. Can you go ahead and just hang your cell phone from your body on the Zoom camera so I can just see everything?
I don't know if the national park was, it's usually windy up there. You'll be like, so, yeah.
I'm also really excited for the Tools at Tea Time PD that's going to be in May of 2022, where we're all going to be at Tim's house. Big party.
All right.
Patty, where in Ohio are you? Tim said you were.
I'm in Indiana.
I got it. I was off by a state.
We're neighbors.
Okay.
And there's Robert, everybody checking in.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi. So good to see your
Robert
face.
was our original connection with this wonderful Jessica Fries-Gaither. So
we did good work together, huh, Jess?
We did a lot of work together.
Yeah. I just
Other questions?
Any questions for Jessica? It's 2 hours later there, so we want to respect her time and not stay too late. What do you got?
Tracy, I did find out how much it costs. You were asked about that, right? Or was that Flora in our breakout room?
It was Flora, but I'd be interested too.
Okay. So if as an individual teacher, it's $12.99 a month if you pay like for the year and a year, and it's $18 a month if you bill monthly. And then, like I said, it looked like it was $1,500 for a school. So we were saying Tim and Anna is pretty cheap for a tech tool these days.
Oh, Starbucks right there. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah, and I'll pass that on to Flora. I'll send her an email.
Okay.
I'll let her know. Yeah. Thanks for keeping track.
Jessica, sorry, have you been using this since the beginning of the year, or did you transition students at some point?
I want to say I started in maybe September. There were a few other teachers who jumped on first, one of whom made the video that I put in the folder, and they kept talking about it. They were like, oh, this ClassKick is just making this so much easier. And I just thought, at first I was like, I have too many other things to deal with. I just can't. And eventually said, okay, show me what this is all about. And I feel like I've scratched the surface compared to them, but it's been so helpful.
Did you feel like it took students a while to kind of get used to it? Like, new tool, I'm not sure what I'm doing, or did they kind of take to it pretty quick?
No, I feel like the layout of it looks so much like the other programs they use, whether it's in the Google Suite or, with the different tools on the ribbon up top. The hardest part is getting them to log into it, because we have Google accounts. So if they log in with their Google accounts, it saves their work and they can get straight back to it much more easily than if they just type in their name. And they always want to just type in their name. It's a constant log in with Google, come on. But in terms of how to use it, no, they're pros.
Glad to hear that. And I just wanted to say thank you. And your books are beautiful. I have 2 of them.
Yay, thank you. I wrote a third. It's kind of stuck in the COVID slowdown with the publishers.
Yeah,
So,
everything slowed down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Good to see you, Caitlin.
Good to see you.
Great dog there, Tabby.
A couple questions. Somebody answered the one in the chat, and then Caitlin was able. Yeah, thanks. He's bigger than everybody. And Caitlin was able to answer a question for me too. So I think I'm okay. I just wanted to stay on, and I didn't want to miss anything if somebody said something exciting.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if nobody has any other
Thanks,
questions.
guys, very much.
Yeah, thank you, Tabby. I think we'll let Jessica go. Did you have any questions, Tracy, or?
I actually have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll let Jessica go. We'll stop the recording, and Tracy, I'll be here to answer the question.